Hey everybody, it's Jason Volha here. Now that my two obligatory informative videos are done for the day, it's time to talk about current events in the online fitness community. And someone has made me aware that VShrunk, aka VShred, has put out a video discussing the secrets to getting a big chest. Let me put on my +5 out of weaponsmithing, work on skill at my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. Vince over at VShrunk giving advice on how to build a big chest would have been like me giving advice back when I was 40 pounds heavier before I got into this cut of expecting people to listen to me on how to get contests ripped, right? No reasonable person would listen to that at that point based purely upon what they see. VShred has no chest. It is his worst body part. He admits that he struggles with chest development. And to me, it's very obvious when I see him train why he struggles with chest development. There's no big secret there. He doesn't actually know what he's doing. And it is silly because there are tons of gym bros who literally know nothing about biomechanics, training programming, anything, who build big chests. Do you know why? Tons of bench press and dips and things like that. Yeah. If you get really, really, really strong on the bench press, even if you have crappy form and it's not meet legal and all this other stuff, you tend to get big pecs. You do tons and tons of benching. Your chest does tend to get pretty big, even if you really don't know what you're doing. Have you guys observed that over the years? I mean, you notice that a lot of dudes like that, they got big pecs who really, they don't know what they're doing. They just come in and bench and bench and bench. It works. Why? Because pecs are a primary mover in the exercise. You do lots of volume. The problem is that Vince doesn't actually do full range of motion on any of his big lifts for his chest. He does partials, he does half reps. And then he wonders why his chest doesn't grow. Well, the thing is, he answered it in his own video. He went through this whole video explaining why it's so important to get full range of motion with the flies, right? And he talked about, hand position doesn't matter because your elbows are what matters. Just your hands will affect leverages, what you can use, everything else. And it's not even ironic that a guy like him who really struggles with overall size, who stays lean, but stays at a very light body weight, struggles with a lot of muscle groups to build size and everything, particularly big muscles, right? His small muscles do good. But he's got good delts, the guy's got biceps, doesn't really have anything else. Is it... what's the word we're looking for? It shouldn't be ironic at all that he started with an isolation type movement, right? That should tell you everything. That is why the guy is small, because when he thought chest, the first thing that popped in his head is, let me start with flies and use these as an example. Well, Vince, clearly the flies have not been working for you. They haven't been working for you because, again, the guy's got like that ironing board chest. People say washboard abs. We've got a washboard chest. It's lean, but there's nothing there. It's flat. No meat on it. And, he goes to the flies. Well, the thing is, you take a guy like him, and he stands right there and talks about form is really, really important. That, yes, we should be going heavy. Really, I don't ever see him going heavy. That we should be doing the right amount of volume. That if we balance these things, but if the form isn't there, you're not going to get anything in your chest. I don't even actually agree with that. I see guys use horrendous form on chest exercises. It will still build your chest, but it will hurt you. It's considered to be bad form. And it works great right up until they get hurt. And that's things like flaring the elbows out at the bottom. So something that he kind of promoted right there in the video. He promoted actual bad form. But back to the other point. He says you got to get the range of motion. Well, yeah, there's some definite truth to that, because if you skip the bottom of the range of motion, the part that puts a little bit of stretch on the pecs, you will tremendously reduce your chest development. That is agreed. I agree with that. And he went through all these details of explaining it on the fly, right? But then when he goes to demonstrate a press, what does he do? He skips the bottom. He comes down, right? When he's doing the fly, what does he do? He comes down to about here when he's doing the chest press. If you were to think about it, where he had those dumbbells, if you had a barbell, you would still be like 6-8 inches from your chest. You guys see the problem? He's right there promoting full range of motion on the isolation and saying it's necessary, but then as soon as he goes to a big compounded movement that really has the potential to put more meat on you, what does he do? He does like a 2/3 rep. He does a 2/3 rep. He doesn't come down. Now, A lot of people would argue, well, you can't go lower, it could hurt you. Well, yeah, the way he's doing it would hurt you because he's got the elbows flared way out and coming down. But with a dumbbell, you come all the way down, you touch. The whole point of dumbbells, what have we discussed before? What is the benefit of a dumbbell for a chest press? I don't do them because I would rather get big and strong on with barbell work because I am a strength athlete. I don't have a whole hell of a lot of use for dumbbell chest presses. I don't feel they're necessary. I feel that dips are a suitable replacement for them personally. Why do we use them? For even loading. No, they don't do even loading. That's not true. Again, that's a myth I've debunked repeatedly. They give you a deeper range of motion. Dumbbells allow you to go deeper, and for some people, getting that extra range of motion gets a deeper stretch and a better stretch reflex on your pecs. In other words, with a barbell, you're limited to here, right? This is as low as the barbell will go. But with a dumbbell, you can go further because your chest doesn't get in the way, your rib cage doesn't get in the way. They allow you to go deeper. But you also need to have the elbow tuck. So if you turn them in a little bit, if you guys remember, Big J does his all the way in a hammer grip, fully pronated. Well, pronation is not the word there. I'm sorry, they're almost supinated. But for me, I recommend, again, just form like a triangle. If you're going to do them like this, right? Come down, but you can go all the way down. They allow a deeper range of motion. He didn't even use normal barbell range of motion. Had he been using a barbell, it would not have even touched his chest. He would have been 6 inches from his chest. And with a dumbbell, you should be able to go 2, 3, maybe 4 inches deeper than you can with a barbell. That's the whole point. So he goes to a dumbbell and he does a partial. And that's kind of the funny part, is that you have this guy who struggles with chest development, admits he struggles with chest development, tells you the secret to chest development, that you need a fuller range of motion, and then what does he do? He demonstrates a partial. When he actually does go to perform a slightly bigger exercise that does have the potential to put a little more muscle on you, what does he do? He immediately goes to a partial rep and doesn't get a stretch reflex, doesn't stretch the pec, doesn't use the full range of motion of the pec, and then goes on to complain that he struggles with chest development. He answered it in his own video that lack of range of motion is usually the biggest cause of people having a lagging chest. He uses a partial range of motion on all his chest exercises. That's really kind of funny if you think about it. And then if you guys recall him bench pressing, do you guys remember the bench video I did where he has like 135, that's what he's benching? So again, kind of laughing at his point of saying you should be going heavy. I'm sorry, but you should be past 135 for reps on a full range of motion on a bench if you're a healthy young man within your first few months in the gym. It shouldn't take you more than 3 months to get past that weight for your work sets. And I do mean that. People say, well, you need to perfect form. It takes you 2 weeks to learn to bench press correctly. All right. It shouldn't take you 3 months to learn how to bench press. It's not that complicated of an exercise other than at the competitive level. Yeah, there's a lot of technique involved with the bench when you're trying to hit a 500-pound bench in a meet. But you're just a regular gym goer who's just trying to use it to safely build his chest and triceps. It's not that complicated of an exercise. You should be able to get your form dialed in real quick. But he's using 135 and he does half reps. He does half reps with 135, and actually that's part of his normal workout. Well, we kind of come back to that other point about full range of motion. Full range of motion, and he's like, you should be going heavy. Well, 135 is not heavy for a healthy young man. Like I usually tell guys at the end of your first year on most of my programs, I would like to see most of you benching 225 for as many as 5 reps. That's what I'd like to see. And that's full range of motion. That's touching your chest with good form. I think that's perfectly reasonable. And I know people are like, that's crazy. And it's like, it's not. If you're on a good program, it's not unusual. I'm not saying everyone's going to reach it, but it's not uncommon. It's not rare. It's not unusual on a good program if you're eating sufficiently to reach that after a year in the gym. It really isn't. So he doesn't go heavy, and he does partial reps. And the ironic part is that his video turned out to be really good because of that. Well, why? Because this is a guy who struggles with chest development. Everyone can see he struggles with chest development. He admits he struggles with chest development. He tells you the secret to chest growth, and then he goes and performs the exact opposite in his own demonstrations and in his own training. That's a great video because then people could look at what he does, and in their head they could realize, wait, This guy actually does what he tells you not to do, and he has a small chest. It should be a light bulb going on. There should be an epiphany there. It's just he's just not bright enough to realize that he just demonstrated all of it. It's pretty funny. I found it amusing, at least. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.